For over 100 years, the eugenicists out of England, the U.S., and Germany, Hitler was only one brand of it, have been setting up health departments, secretly taking DNA samples from babies for the last 37 years. That's now been declassified and been in the news. They wrote literally hundreds of government white papers we've covered here in the 50s where they said we want to put chemicals in the water to reduce fertility, to sterilize people, and to dumb people down, and to reduce their life expectancy. And all over the country, drugs have been found in reservoirs at levels, in some cases, hundreds of times what they could be from sewage runoff. They've been found in mountain reservoirs. This has been in the Associated Press, where it's original water, original rainwater, original glacier water, original mountain snow runoff. There is no sewage involved. It's original source water, and there's Prozac and birth control and other things in it. Now, the U.S. government's proposed putting Prozac in the water, serotonin reuptake inhibitor type drugs. We've played those news clips. The Japanese government's been considering it. They've now been pushing putting lithium in the water, which is an antipsychotic, and talking about how natural it is and how it's no big deal and how it helps in suicide. They're talking about putting anti-cholesterol statins in the water. It's now coming out statins don't really mess with your cholesterol too much, that most cholesterol's good, and that it's causing liver problems. And that's mainstream news. So because myself and others have been exposing what they're putting in the water, what GMO food's doing from the real science, because all of this has been coming out, they're going from denying they're putting things in our water to coming out and saying lead in toys is good. Melamine isn't bad for kids, even though it kills them and causes kidney failure. Mercury in shots actually helps your brain, doesn't harm it. Yeah, we are looking at putting stuff in your water. And they're irradiating more and more food. They're spraying live viruses on food. I want to go over all these mainstream media sources where they throw it in your face. But first off, to give you an idea about how prolific this is, last night we're up here late. I order a couple Papa John's pizzas for the office. After my Sunday show, we're up here working on a film, actually 2 films. I'm working on my film. Jason Burmis is working on his. And I say, I'll order some pizzas. I'm putting red pepper on my pizza. And after I've already eaten a couple pieces of cheese pizza, I look down and it says, crushed red peppers by Papa John's, crushed red peppers treated with radiation. And then it's got a symbol of a flower. Oh, radiation's a flower. I'm going to lay this here on the table, on the broadcast desk, so the document cam can zoom right in on that for everyone watching. Crushed red peppers treated with radiation. And I wish I had an unused package so I could show it where I don't have the corner ripped off like I do there. But is there no way to focus that a little bit better, I guess? Crushed red peppers treated with radiation. Now, they tried to get a radiation of food passed in the 50s. They had all this nuclear weapons waste, high-power radioactive material. They don't mix actual radiation granules or radioactive substances in. They run food for just a few seconds through high-powered radiation beams that would kill you deader than a hammer if you were in the radiation. And it kills bacteria, it kills other things. And this is so the food companies, scientists, and the government wouldn't let them do it until they approved radiation 8 years ago. Because the studies all over the world showed it destroyed the value of the food. It killed the living enzymes in there, the ring structures, the cofactors. They did rat studies with it. Big problems. But this is crushed red pepper. Why irradiate it? And most of the meat you're eating has been irradiated. A lot of the vegetables you're eating have been irradiated. This is only the tip of the iceberg. The GMO tomatoes and corn that they've mixed animal and insect in with, cross-species genetic engineering. They've crossed pigs and humans. They've crossed spiders and goats to create body armor. They won't believe me. Search engine, spider goats, CBS News, Associated Press. Let's show them a photo of a part spider, part goat for body armor production. Just anything you can imagine is going on. They've released fish in the open sea that are part insect, part plant. It gives rise to super viruses. It gives rise to super mutations in bacteria. This is the true environmental threat. Now, here's an article from the Associated Press, August 19, 2006. This was approved in 2005. Agency approves first use of viruses as food additive. A mix of bacteria-killing viruses may be sprayed on cold cuts, wieners, and sausages. Is actually approved for all meat to combat common microbes that kill hundreds of people a year, federal officials ruled Friday. The Food and Drug Administration approved it as a food additive. Now, they grow these in giant viral tanks off of meat. And in those products is the regular viruses and bacteria that were associated with it, and the mutations occur. So they're not just spraying these viruses. Now, they said, well, you naturally have these viruses in your guts, but this is, depending on which mixture, over 1,000, in some cases over 10,000 times more of these viruses than naturally occur in your gut. It's kind of like Monsanto has a form of corn that bugs won't eat because it has a naturally occurring fungus that grows that will kill bugs, but it's over 1,000 times again stronger than the regular fungus, and it grows inside the corn, and then you eat it. That's one big reason a lot of honeybees are dying. German universities have done the studies and found they have the genetically modified corn that has this natural pesticide in it in their tiny digestive tracts, because unlike other animals, bees will still get the pollen, then they go die. And that's why they have the growth maps of where this is being grown in the U.S. and Europe, where the bees are dying. In some cases, more than 80%. On average, we've lost half our bees in the U.S., half in Europe. So that's going on. So agency approves first use of viruses as food additive. In case you don't believe that, because I tell people this is going on, they don't believe it. Viral meat spray, advancing food safety, ABC News. Says the food aisles don't seem very safe these days. There are still no firm answers as to what caused the E. coli breakout. Well, see, this allows them now, when chicken and beef and poultry and pork has feces on it from the cows and pigs they slaughter and bacteria growing, they spray it down with bleach and try to clean it. Instead, they just leave it dirty and spray the viruses on it. So it allows them to feed you dirty, contaminated meat. The problem is most food poisoning is caused by the excrement, the secretions of the bacteria. Their defecation is toxic, and that's the main toxin that gets you sick. So see, they just try to clean off the feces, the bacteria feces, and the animal's own feces and blood from when they get hit in the head with a gas-powered hammer and blood spraying out everywhere, and they come in with giant razor blade cutters and slit its throat, start hacking big old pieces off, and it's rolling around in feces everywhere, and they're just slobbing that through. And they take it in with big basters and just spray viruses all over it, bred in big old giant tanks. And they're feeding cows worldwide, rotten, ground up, dead animals from the vet. That's come out in mainstream news. They take your dead animals, grind them up in offal with dead cows and sheep and everything else, and feed rotten meat to cows when they're not even meant to eat meat. Prion, crystals then grow and get into the meat. You then eat it. They go to your brain, start growing, because they're meant to grow in dead flesh. Now they got 25-year-olds getting Alzheimer's from it. That's really mad cow in America. This is what you're feeding your family, and this is eugenics. The globalists stated they were going to develop soft kill weapons so they can give you something that makes you sick, debilitates you, and kills you in 10, 15, 20 years, and then the doctors aren't told how to diagnose it, and they don't know what's happening. Folks, there's thousands of these issues I could go over, and I've interviewed top scientists. Many of them making $2, $3, $4 million a year, holding patents. They would feed, in one case in England in the early 90s, GMO potatoes to rats. They would become sterilized. They would have their life expectancy cut in half. They would have mutations after birth, which is very rare. I mean, literally like a horror movie. And then the scientists would go and say, we can't put this on the market. It's sterilizing. And they were told, shut up. Shut up, we're putting it on the market. They know it's sterilizing you. And all these CEOs and all these bankers, most of them aren't in on the larger program. They're eating it too. This is hurting all of us. If you're a bureaucrat, if you're an FBI agent, if you're a cop, if you're a CPS worker, you're an enforcer for this system. Did you get the memo not to drink the 150 plus chemicals on average, in some cases over 300, they put from fertilizer manufacturing and aluminum manufacturing, aluminum production, purification? They take that toxic waste, mercury, lead, arsenic, hundreds of other chemicals, sodium fluoride, all these different acid complexes of fluoride, and they dump it in your water. It attacks your brain, your glands, calcifies in your bones, attacks fertility. We're being slowly killed, slowly exterminated, and the people in pizza chains are told by their distributor, hey, we've got some low-price irradiated stuff here for you, and they just put it on the shelves. They ship it to your house. They deliver it to you to where you can't even get a packet of pepper now that hasn't been irradiated, losing its food value.